What's up, World Wide Web? Machines on the scenes, let's do this. Y'all picked a great day to come by, because I can promise you that this is going to be the best video I've ever put on YouTube. And I think that everyone should say that when they put their first video on YouTube, because I'm pretty sure I'll never get to say it again. Anyway, let me answer a few questions some of you may be having right about now, such as, where did YouTube find this guy at? And what in the hell is a scene machine? And most importantly, why should I be spending my valuable YouTube time listening to this insane fool when I could be listening to singing dogs or watching Russians do something? The apex of entertainment. Well, let me go with those one at a time. As for me, I'm just some old dude that likes movies. And in my very long life, I've seen a lot of movies. And I just love talking, with my friends about movies I've seen, movies that are coming out. And I can't tell you a whole lot more about me without dropping a spoiler warning, because I'm pretty sure Hollywood's going to be making a movie about me pretty soon. My life's the kind of story they can't resist. It's long and boring, full of plot holes and unbelievable characters. And as for the scene machine, well, it's somewhat false advertisement. There's no machine other than one I'm using to record this video. And I'm the only one here, and I ain't caused a scene yet. But I had to call my YouTube channel something. Scene machine sounded cool, and it wasn't taken yet, so there's that. And most importantly, what does this channel have to offer? Well, so far, not much. But, again, I love to talk about movies, and I'm always glad to talk about movies that I've seen and let you know what I think about them. But to be honest, you can get movie reviews anywhere on YouTube. There are actual guys that have been to film school. They're doing movie reviews on YouTube, and they can tell you all about lighting, lenses, camera angles, and I can just tell you if a scene's any good or not. And that's just my opinion. But I think going with the old tradition of if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage, they don't get much behind the scenes, of the movie. They don't talk about the making or, anything that went into the movie, just what you see on the screen. And I think that's really limiting because, a lot of times the story of how the movie was made is more interesting than the story that the movie itself is trying to tell. There's some terrible movies that have some great stories, behind them. And that's the kind of thing I like to talk about. And so I've been trying to put something together for a while now, and trying to get everything just right, and that hadn't been working out too good for me. So I was cruising around on the internet, and I come across this quote that I put at the beginning of the video by Mr. Guillermo del Toro, and that's what I said. You know what, man? That's what I need to do. I just need to put something out there. Don't stop trying to work on this masterpiece and just put something out there. So I thought I'd put together a little sampler, a little highlights reel of some of the things that I want to talk about. And keep in mind, these aren't even the tip of the iceberg. These aren't even ice cubes. There's just so much content, behind the scenes of movies. And but check this out. This comes under the heading of movie history. Before 1890, over in Europe, they were using things that were almost cameras, that were almost rolling film, that were recording things that were almost movies. But in 1890, Edison and Mr. William K. L. Dickerson and William Heiss all got together and started making movies with this new camera that they've made. And it was for a kinetoscope machine. You look down in it and it shines a light through the film, and animation takes place. And these are literally movies, okay? That's where the word movie comes from. It's from moving pictures. These appear to be moving pictures. These are movies. And the first one ever recorded in America, or in the Western Hemisphere, as far as I know, was a Thomas Edison joint called Monkey Shines. And it was just a couple seconds long. It was a dude in a white suit standing against a black background, moving around, see if the camera would pick up his motions. And not long after, they came in and did some more test footage. And they called this Monkey Shines 2. And of course, Monkey Shines 3 came along. Sadly, Monkey Shines 3 has most likely been lost, but you can still find 1 and 2 on YouTube. And just to say that you watched the first American movies ever, bragging rights, I'd highly recommend you go watch those. But from what I'm told, you could cut 1, 2, and 3 together, and it would have been looked like one big long, not long, but it would have been looked like one continuous scene. And it's a continuing story, even though there's no words. He's telling a story through movement. So, in the most technical of terms, the third movie ever made in the United States was a direct sequel to the second movie ever made in the United States. And it was a direct sequel to the first one. The first 3 movies made over here with modern technology were a trilogy. So, Hollywood isn't getting on a new kick here. They've been doing this from the beginning. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. And another thing that has always interested me is casting choices for movies. I'm just about convinced when they do make a great movie, it's on accident. Because, if you look at the script to some amazing movies, they were rewritten on the set, and the original people that they had to play these parts, I don't know what they were thinking. And I like Bill Murray as much as the next guy. Don't get me wrong. But if they would have had their way, he would have been everything in the 80s and 90s. And I'm going to leave a link to this ad too, but this is just weird that they wanted him in every movie ever made. In '77, he tried out for the part of Han Solo in Star Wars. That would have been interesting, to say the least. It would have been equally interesting if he would have got the part of Raiders of the Lost Ark. As Indiana Jones, he tried out for that, and supposedly they really liked him, but they took Ford instead. Then we got Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I could see him in that. He probably could have handled that one. Rain Man, I don't know. They offered him the part, from what I hear, and he walked away from it. And that's when they brought Tom Cruise in, and he was on board for Batman. They offered him that too, the 1989 Batman. And I don't have it anywhere, but I had always heard that it was some type of creative differences. I think he wanted to make it a comedy, and the director had other ideas. And I also heard, again, I can't prove it, but I also heard that Eddie Murphy was going to be Robin. And I like it already. And, when you think of Bob De Niro, what are some of his iconic roles besides The Godfather? One of the first things that come to mind is Cape Fear. Max Cady in Cape Fear. He is just a beast in that, man. He's just a monster. And if they would have given that part to Bill Murray, which they wanted to, of course, they got to put this guy in everything. That would have just been a completely different movie. But probably nothing is more bizarre and more out there than the casting for Forrest Gump. Again, I've heard that John Travolta was down to play the part. He'd done everything but sign the paperwork. He was Forrest Gump. And he went on and something happened. He did Pulp Fiction, and they brought Tom Hanks in as a replacement. But of course, they interviewed Bill Murray for the part and Chevy Chase. And the writer only had one suggestion. He wanted John Goodman to be Forrest Gump. I mean, I'm sure it sounded like a better idea then than it does now, but it's just bizarre, you know. And then the last thing, you know, in time, most recent thing, is Iron Man. They wanted him to play a part in Iron Man. I'm pretty sure it was the part that Bridges played, Jeff Bridges, the villain. But they called him a couple times and he wouldn't answer the phone. So that's how we got Jeff Bridges in that movie. But I'm going to leave a link to this, and there's 33, you know, big movies that they tried to get Bill Murray in, and he just had other things to do, I guess. But I say it worked out for the best. And one more thing I want to lay on y'all here before I go. Real quick, what's the best movie ever made in history? Okay, now, this has nothing to do with opinion or anything like that. There is a very specific formula for what makes a movie good. The best movie in the world right now is Avengers Endgame. Now, the reason why is because there's only one factor in this formula, and that's how much money it made. And you hear people actually talking about this. They'll say, well, it's the best movie ever because it made, you know, so much money. You know, it's the highest grossing movie ever. Or, you know, more people went to see it, so it's the best movie. Makes sense? Well, not exactly. Because there's this saying that this is, you know, true, that there's any truth to it. I don't think there is, but if there was, it still wouldn't play out that way because this little thing called inflation. And don't get me wrong, I love Endgame. That was a great movie. But it's not the best movie ever. You know, it's just it was hyped up, and a lot of people went and saw it, and you know they liked it so much they went and saw it again. That's how movies make money. But if you figure in this little inflation problem, you know, you get a different list. In fact, number one turns out to be this little movie they made back in 1939 called Gone with the Wind. And I couldn't get any information on the budget, but it made $200 million and change domestically in 1 year. And it made about the same foreign that year. So, you know, we're looking at around $3.5 billion, you know, in that 1 year. And then they re-released it several times after that. This movie just made a ton of money. And again, adjusting for inflation, I'm sorry. Number two is going to be Star Wars. Not A New Hope. They just called it Star Wars then. And I did get some budget information on it, and it had an $11 million budget. And the way that production budgets work is that doesn't cover advertisement and prints and, you know, all the other fees that you got to pay to get a movie in the movie theaters, and that's usually about the same as your production budget. So let's say $22 million, and it made $460 million, nearly $500 million, you know, at the box office that year domestically, and then it made that much again overseas. And when you adjust that for 1977 money, it comes up to 1.6. So what are you looking at? About 3.2 worldwide in 1 year. And on on a $22 million bet, that ain't bad. That's you know, in 1977 money, they made their budget back 20 times over, and movies just don't do that anymore. And if you want to go with the idea that, you know, just because a movie makes more money means it's better, then you've got to you got to believe some pretty hard to believe things. One, you got to believe that number 3, The Sound of Music, is better than number 7, which is Jaws. And you've also got to believe that, I don't know, The Lion King, not a bad movie, but it wasn't better than Raiders of the Lost Ark. And there is definitely no way that Jurassic Park was better than The Godfather, And also, man, The Godfather was at 25, and The Phantom Menace is at 19. Nah, I'm good. You can't tell how good a movie is by how much money it makes. That just really tells you how good the last movie was. Now, again, this is just my opinion, and you're welcome to disagree with me. And that's really about all I got for you right now. Like I said, the comment section's always open. Right now, this is just my channel, but a machine with one part ain't going to do much. And I'm wanting to start a community of film fans here, and I want this to be our channel. So just go, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what's going on. And before I go, I just want, if you stayed this long, I just want to say thank you so much. This has been something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'm really glad you could be a part of it. And I look forward to doing another one. Next time I'm going to have some more, precise information on one subject. This is just kind of a test run. So, anyway, have a great day, and God bless, and see you on the next Scene Machine. Be good.